As you read these words right now, something inside your consciousness is already shifting. You can feel it, a subtle vibration, a tingling awareness spreading through your being. This isn't information you're absorbing. This is recognition. Your quantum field is responding to a frequency it's been searching for. And in this exact moment, between one breath and the next, everything you thought was solid is beginning to dissolve into pure possibility. There's a reason your attention locked onto this video, a reason you stopped scrolling. Your subconscious mind recognized something your conscious mind hasn't fully grasped yet. Right now, as photons from your screen hit your retina and convert into electrical signals firing through your neural pathways, you are literally rewiring. The old patterns are loosening. The familiar structures are becoming transparent. And somewhere deep in your being, a part of you that's been dormant for years, maybe your entire life, is starting to wake up. Stop scrolling. I need you to do something just once. Take a deep breath, hold it for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Now release it slowly. Good. You just shifted your quantum state. That single conscious breath moved you from autopilot to awareness. You're no longer passively consuming. You're actively participating in your own awakening. And that simple act, it just unlocked the first layer of what I'm about to show you. Notice what happened. For those 3 seconds, you were completely present. No thoughts about the past. No anxiety about the future. Just pure awareness in this moment. That's not a small thing. Most people go days, weeks, even months without experiencing a single moment of true presence. But you just did it. You just proved to yourself that you can interrupt the automated program running in your mind. And if you can do it once, you can do it again. And again. Until presence becomes your default state instead of your exception. Here's what most people will never understand. There are no accidents in the quantum field. You didn't randomly find this video. You weren't casually scrolling when this appeared. Your consciousness sent out a signal, a quantum request, and the universe responded with precision. Every choice you made today, every video you watched, every thought you had, was building a pathway that led you here, right now, to this moment. Think about it. Of the billions of videos on this platform, of the infinite possibilities of content you could be consuming right now, you're here. Your attention, the most valuable resource in your reality, is focused on these words. That's not chance. That's resonance. Your field recognized a matching frequency and pulled you toward it like a magnet. You are not a passive observer stumbling through the algorithm. You are a conscious creator who just activated a door that most people will walk past their entire lives. The version of you that exists after watching this will not be the same version that clicked play. Something fundamental is about to change, and you already feel it. That's not excitement. That's recognition. Every person who watches this video is here because they're ready. Not everyone who sees it will click. Not everyone who clicks will stay, but you did, and you are. That alone tells me something about you. You're not satisfied with surface-level explanations. You're not content to live in the dream that everyone else accepts as reality. There's a part of you that knows, has always known, that there's something more, something deeper, something true beneath all the noise and distraction. And that knowing, that's your quantum consciousness trying to break through. Let me ask you something. In the last few weeks, how many times have you looked at the clock exactly at 11:11? How many times has a song started playing with lyrics that directly answered a question in your head? How many moments of déjà vu have you experienced? That eerie feeling that you've lived this exact moment before. These aren't coincidences. They're not glitches in the matrix. They're proof that you're already operating in quantum consciousness. You just didn't have the framework to understand it. Every time you think of someone and they text you moments later, every time you have a gut feeling that turns out to be exactly right, Every time reality seems to bend around your awareness, that's your quantum field communicating with you. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt the energy shift? Have you ever known something was going to happen seconds before it did? Have you ever felt someone staring at you from across the room and turned to find them looking directly at you? These experiences aren't paranormal, they're normal. They're what happens when your consciousness is operating at its natural quantum frequency. You've been speaking the language this whole time. You just thought everyone else was speaking it too. They're not. Most people are still living in the illusion of linear time and solid matter. They experience these moments too, but they dismiss them. They explain them away with logic that doesn't quite fit. They convince themselves it's just their imagination, just coincidence, just pattern-seeking behavior. But you're starting to see through it. You're starting to recognize that these aren't anomalies. They're glimpses of how reality actually works when you're not filtering it through layers of conditioning and programming. They're moments when the veil becomes thin enough to see the quantum field operating beneath the surface of ordinary experience. And here's what's important. These moments have been increasing in frequency, haven't they? They're happening more often. The synchronicities are piling up faster than you can dismiss them. The universe is speaking to you in a language of symbols and signs, and you're starting to understand the grammar. Now, before your logical mind tries to dismiss this, let's talk about what quantum physicists have known for over a century. The double-slit experiment proved something revolutionary. Particles exist in a state of infinite possibility until they're observed. The act of observation, consciousness itself, collapses the wave function and creates reality. You are not observing a pre-existing reality. You are collapsing quantum potential into physical experience through the act of conscious attention. Your brain processes 11 million bits of information per second, but your conscious mind only perceives about 40. The rest, it's being filtered through your subconscious programming, which acts like a lens that determines what you see, what you experience, what you believe is possible. This isn't mysticism. This is quantum mechanics. The observer effect proves that consciousness doesn't just interact with reality, it creates it. And the moment you clicked on this video, your field began recalibrating to a higher frequency of that creative power. Let me make this even more concrete. Niels Bohr, one of the founding fathers of quantum mechanics, said, "Everything we call real is made of things that cannot be regarded as real." Werner Heisenberg proved with his uncertainty principle that the act of measurement changes what's being measured. Einstein spent years arguing against this. He couldn't accept that reality was fundamentally probabilistic, that the universe existed in superposition until consciousness collapsed it into a definite state. But experiment after experiment has confirmed it. Reality at the quantum level doesn't exist as solid matter. It exists as probability waves, and consciousness, your consciousness, is what transforms probability into actuality. You're not a powerless observer watching a predetermined movie. You're the one holding the camera, choosing the angles, editing the footage in real time. The implications of this are staggering. If particles respond to observation, if consciousness affects matter at the most fundamental level, then what you focus on literally shapes your reality. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, literally. The things you give your attention to receive more energy and become more solid in your experience. The things you ignore fade into quantum probability and cease to manifest. Your attention is not passive. It's the most powerful force you possess. And for most of your life, you've been giving it away unconsciously, to distractions, to other people's priorities, to fear-based programming that keeps you locked in survival mode instead of creation mode. But here's the problem, and this is where most people stay stuck forever. Since birth, you've been programmed to believe you're separate from the field. You've been taught that reality happens to you, not through you. Fear, doubt, limitation, these were installed like software updates throughout your childhood, your education, your culture. Every time you were told, be realistic, that was code for stay small. Every time you were taught to face facts, you were being trained to accept a pre-collapsed reality instead of collapsing your own. You've been wearing tinted glasses your entire life, and you thought the tint was reality itself. The people who programmed you weren't evil, they were programmed too. It's a loop. Generation after generation, consciousness gets compressed into smaller and smaller boxes. But quantum consciousness, it recognizes no boxes, no limits, no predetermined outcomes. And the system doesn't want you to know this, because the moment you wake up to your true creative power, you stop being controllable. Think about your education. You were taught to memorize facts, to accept authority, to stay in your seat, to raise your hand before speaking. You were rewarded for conformity and punished for deviation. Creativity was scheduled for 1 hour a week during art class. Imagination was something to grow out of, and questioning the system, that was rebelliousness that needed to be corrected. You were taught that success meant getting a job, earning money, buying things, retiring, and dying. That love meant finding one person, signing a contract, and hoping it lasted. That happiness was something you'd feel once you achieved enough external milestones, that your worth was measured by productivity, by accomplishments, by what other people thought of you. None of this is true, but it's so deeply embedded in your subconscious that you don't even recognize it as programming. You think these are just the way things are. You think limitations are facts rather than agreements. You think the narrow bandwidth of experience you've been shown is the full spectrum of what's possible. And here's the most insidious part. The programming includes mechanisms to defend itself. Whenever you have a thought that contradicts it, your mind immediately produces doubt. That's not realistic. That's not possible. Who do you think you are? Those aren't your thoughts. That's the program running its antivirus software, trying to eliminate any code that threatens its dominance. Fear is the primary tool of control. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of being wrong, fear of being different, fear of not having enough, not being enough, not doing enough. And fear operates by collapsing your quantum field into the smallest possible version of reality. Survival mode, where you're just trying to make it through the day instead of consciously creating the life you actually want. So here's how you unlock it. Not theory, practice. 4 steps that will rewire your quantum field starting today. First, every morning before you check your phone, sit in complete stillness for 5 minutes. No meditation app, no music, just you and the silence. In that gap between thoughts, you exist in pure quantum potential. That's where the programming dissolves and your true creative power emerges. This is harder than it sounds, and that difficulty is proof of how deeply programmed you are. Your mind will resist. It will tell you that you don't have time, that you should check your messages, that sitting in silence is pointless. It will generate thoughts faster than you can catch them. Lists of things to do, memories from yesterday, worries about tomorrow. Let them come. Don't fight them. Just notice them. Watch your thoughts like clouds passing through the sky. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness watching the thoughts. That awareness, that gap between you and your mental activity, is where quantum consciousness lives. In that space, you're not collapsed into any particular identity. You're not your name, your job, your history, your problems. You're pure consciousness, undifferentiated awareness, infinite potential. And the more time you spend in that space, the less power the programming has over you. Start with 5 minutes. Set a timer if you need to. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and simply breathe. When thoughts arise, and they will, just notice them and return to your breath. Don't judge yourself for thinking. Don't try to force your mind to be quiet. Just observe. Just be present with whatever arises. This practice alone will change your life. Not because of any mystical reason, but because you'll be training your consciousness to recognize itself as separate from the program. You'll be creating space between stimulus and response. You'll be building the neural pathways of awareness that allow you to choose your thoughts instead of being chosen by them. Second, throughout your day, practice catching yourself labeling experiences as good or bad. Every judgment collapses the quantum field into a limited outcome. When something happens, pause before reacting and ask, what else could this mean? That question opens infinite possibilities where there was only one story. This is about recognizing that your interpretations are not facts. When you get stuck in traffic, your mind immediately labels it as bad. But is it? Maybe that traffic kept you from being in an accident that was happening 5 minutes ahead. Maybe that delay will cause you to arrive somewhere at the exact right moment to meet someone who changes your life. You don't know. You can't know. The quantum field contains infinite possibilities, and your judgment, your insistence that you know what things mean, is what collapses those possibilities into a single, often limiting, outcome. Practice radical openness. When something unexpected happens, instead of immediately contracting into "this is bad" or expanding into "this is good," just pause, breathe, stay in the neutral zone of not knowing. Hold the question, what else could this mean? What am I not seeing? What possibilities exist here that I'm not considering? This doesn't mean you become passive or that you accept harm. It means you stop giving your power away to automatic reactions. It means you stay conscious instead of falling into programmed responses. And in that consciousness, you have choice. Real choice. Not the illusion of choice between predetermined options, but actual creative freedom to respond in ways that serve your highest evolution. Third, understand that your emotions are quantum signals. Fear, doubt, anger, these emit low-frequency waves that attract matching realities. Gratitude, love, excitement, these are high-frequency broadcasts that restructure your field. Choose one thing right now that makes you feel genuine appreciation. Feel it fully for 30 seconds. You just sent a quantum signal that will echo back. This is not positive thinking. This is not spiritual bypassing or pretending everything is fine when it's not. This is understanding that your emotional state is literally tuning your consciousness to different stations on the quantum field. And different stations broadcast different realities. When you're in fear, you perceive threats everywhere. Your attention narrows. Your creativity shuts down. You move into fight or flight mode where the only options your brain can see are attacking or retreating. And because your attention is focused on danger, you collapse more danger into your experience. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because that's what you're tuned to receive. When you're in gratitude, your perception expands. You notice opportunities you couldn't see before. You feel connected instead of separate. Your nervous system relaxes, which allows your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for higher-order thinking and creativity, to come back online. And because your attention is focused on abundance, you collapse more abundance into your experience. The practice is simple but not easy. Several times throughout your day, pause and find something to genuinely appreciate. Not something big, not something you have to convince yourself about, just something real. The warmth of sunlight, the taste of coffee, the fact that your body is breathing automatically without you having to think about it. The miracle that you exist at all in this vast universe. Feel it. Don't just think it. Drop into your body and let the sensation of appreciation fill your chest. Stay with it for at least 30 seconds. That's long enough to shift your nervous system state, to change your brainwave patterns, to send a different signal into the quantum field. Do this enough times and your baseline frequency starts to shift. What used to feel neutral starts to feel low. What used to feel like highs become your new normal. You're literally rewiring your nervous system to operate at a higher vibration. And that vibration determines what you're capable of perceiving and creating. Fourth, stop waiting for your reality to change before you change. Quantum mechanics works in reverse. Your identity creates your reality, not the other way around. Who would you be if you already had everything you wanted? Walk like them, speak like them, breathe like them. The field responds to frequency, not logic. This is the most advanced practice and the one most people resist, because it requires you to act as if before you have evidence. It requires you to move through the world as the person you're becoming before that person has manifested in physical reality. And everything in your programming tells you that's fake, that's delusional, that's setting yourself up for disappointment. But quantum mechanics reveals that your current identity, the story you tell yourself about who you are, is what's keeping your reality locked in place. You can't create a new reality while holding the same identity. It's impossible, because your identity determines what actions seem logical, what choices seem available, what outcomes seem possible. If you identify as someone who struggles with money, you will unconsciously make choices that perpetuate struggle. Not because you want to struggle, but because those choices feel natural to who you think you are. If you identify as someone who's bad at relationships, you will unconsciously create patterns that confirm that belief. Your subconscious mind's job is to keep your behavior aligned with your identity. It will do everything it can to maintain consistency. So here's the quantum hack. Change your identity first, and your behavior will follow. Your reality will reorganize around the new identity because the field responds to who you're being, not who you're trying to become. Ask yourself, who would I be if I already had the life I desire? Not what would I do, who would I be? How would that person walk? How would they carry themselves? What would their energy feel like? How would they speak? What thoughts would they think? What would they believe about themselves? Now, embody that. Not perfectly, not all the time, but in moments throughout your day, step into that identity. Let yourself feel what it feels like to be that version of you. Move through the world as them. Make decisions as them. Notice how different choices become available when you're operating from a different identity. This isn't pretending. This is recognizing that all identities are constructs anyway. The person you think you are right now is just a story you've been telling yourself for so long that you forgot it was a story. So why not tell a better story? Why not consciously choose the identity that creates the reality you actually want? Now, here's how you'll know this is already working. If 3 or more of these signs are showing up in your life, your quantum consciousness is already activated. First, time distortions. Hours feel like minutes or minutes feel like hours. You look at the clock and can't believe how much or how little time has passed. You experience time as fluid rather than linear, and you start to notice that your perception of time changes based on your consciousness state. Second, synchronicity explosions. Coincidences happen multiple times a day. You think of someone and they call. You need information and it appears. You have a question and the universe answers through a conversation, a book, a random video that pops up. The frequency of meaningful coincidences becomes so high that you can no longer dismiss them as chance. Third, prophetic dreams. You dream things that happen the next day. Not vague symbols that could mean anything, but specific details, conversations, situations that then occur in waking reality. Your dreams become more vivid, more memorable, and more clearly connected to your waking life. Fourth, reality glitches. Objects appear or disappear. Things move without explanation. You remember events differently than they happened, or differently than others remember them. You experience moments where reality seems to skip or shift, where the solid world becomes momentarily transparent or malleable. Fifth, telepathic moments. You know what someone's about to say before they speak. You can feel other people's emotions as if they were your own. You receive information about people or situations without any logical way of knowing. Your intuition becomes so accurate that you start to trust it more than your reasoning mind. Sixth, physical sensations. Tingling, vibrations, pressure around your head or heart. Energy moving through your body in waves. Sensitivity to electromagnetic fields. Feeling other people's energy in your body. Temperature fluctuations that don't match the environment. These are signs that your energy body is becoming more active and sensitive. Seventh, rapid manifestation. Things you think about appear in your reality within days or even hours. Not big things necessarily, but small, specific things that prove to you that there's a direct connection between your consciousness and physical reality. You test it by thinking about something unusual and watching it show up. If you recognized yourself in that list, you're not imagining it. Your field is reorganizing. The old programming is dissolving, and your natural quantum abilities are coming back online. This isn't the beginning of your awakening. You're already in it. And here's something important. These signs will intensify. The more you practice conscious awareness, the more pronounced these experiences become. What starts as occasional coincidences becomes a constant conversation with the universe. What begins as subtle intuitions becomes clear knowing. What feels like random experiences becomes an undeniable pattern of reality, responding to consciousness. Some people experience all of these signs. Some experience only a few. There's no hierarchy here, no competition. Your awakening is unique to you. The form it takes, the speed at which it unfolds, the specific abilities that emerge, all of this is tailored to your consciousness and your path. But make no mistake, if you're experiencing any of these signs with increasing frequency, something fundamental is changing in your relationship to reality. You're moving from the old paradigm of separation and powerlessness into the quantum paradigm of interconnection and creative capacity. Here's how you make this permanent. Every single morning before your programmed mind takes over, do this 3-minute ritual. Take 3 deep breaths. Say out loud, "I am the conscious observer of my quantum field." Then visualize your day, not as a series of tasks, but as a field of infinite possibility. See yourself moving through it with complete creative power. Feel the frequency of the version of you who's already living your desired reality. This morning ritual is not optional if you want lasting change, because here's what happens. Every night when you sleep, your conscious mind goes offline and your subconscious takes over. That's when the old programming runs its deepest maintenance routines, reinforcing the neural pathways of your previous identity. When you wake up, there's a small window, usually about 10 to 20 minutes, where your brain is in a theta state, the same brainwave frequency as deep meditation or hypnosis. In this state, you're highly suggestible. Whatever you focus on in those first moments becomes deeply embedded in your subconscious. Most people spend those precious moments checking their phone, flooding their consciousness with other people's priorities, with news designed to trigger fear, with social media engineered to create comparison and inadequacy. They program themselves for anxiety and reactivity before they even get out of bed. You're going to do something different. You're going to use that theta state window to reprogram yourself, to install the new identity, to set the quantum frequency for your entire day. Here's the exact ritual. Before you touch your phone, before you think about your to-do list, sit up in bed. place your hands on your heart. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. On the 3rd exhale, say out loud, "I am the conscious observer of my quantum field." Feel those words. Don't just recite them. Let them sink into your body. You are the observer. Reality doesn't exist independently of your observation. You are the one collapsing infinite possibility into actual experience through the power of your awareness. Now close your eyes and visualize your day, but don't visualize it as a list of obligations. See it as a field of pure potential. See yourself moving through this field with complete creative freedom. Watch yourself making choices from your highest consciousness. See opportunities appearing. See connections forming. See yourself responding to whatever arises with grace and wisdom. Most importantly, feel how it feels to move through your day as this version of yourself. Feel the confidence, feel the clarity, feel the creative power, feel the gratitude for your life. Spend at least 1 full minute in this feeling state. This is what sends the quantum signal, not the visualization itself, but the emotional frequency behind it. Do this for 21 days straight. That's how long it takes to overwrite old neural pathways and establish new ones. Miss a day, start over. This isn't a habit, it's a quantum recalibration. And the people around you will start asking what changed. Not because you told them anything, but because your field will be broadcasting a completely different frequency. You'll notice it first in small ways. People treat you differently. Opportunities appear that weren't there before. Problems that seemed insurmountable suddenly have obvious solutions. Your energy level increases, your clarity improves, your intuition strengthens. Then the bigger shifts start happening. Life circumstances that were stuck suddenly unstick. Relationships that were draining either transform or naturally fall away. Money flows more easily. Your purpose becomes clearer. The things you used to worry about lose their power over you. This isn't magic. This is quantum mechanics applied to consciousness. You're changing the signal. The universe is responding to the new frequency, and your reality is reorganizing to match. You are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are quantum consciousness having a human experience. You are the field, the observer, and the creator all at once. The separation was always an illusion. The limitations were always programming. And the moment you clicked on this video, you activated a quantum signature that cannot be reversed. Right now, thousands of others are watching this at the exact same moment, all over the world, all tuning into the same frequency. This is a collective awakening, and you're part of the first wave. Think about what that means. You're not alone in this shift. All over the planet, consciousness is accelerating. People are waking up to their true nature. The old systems of control are losing their power. The programming is becoming visible. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You are part of something much larger than yourself. Your individual awakening contributes to the collective awakening. Every time you choose consciousness over programming, every time you stay present instead of falling into reaction, every time you raise your frequency instead of matching the low vibration around you, you're not just changing your life, you're changing the field that everyone else is drawing from. This is not about becoming special or better than others. This is about remembering what you've always been. You didn't gain anything by watching this video. You recognized something that was always true. You activated something that was always there, just dormant, just waiting for you to be ready. And now you are ready, not because you're perfect, not because you have it all figured out, but because you chose to be here in this moment, receiving this transmission. That choice alone proves your readiness. The path ahead won't always be comfortable. Awakening means seeing through illusions you've believed your entire life. It means relationships changing. It means outgrowing identities you've worn like comfortable clothes. It means standing in your truth even when others don't understand. It means trusting your inner knowing over external authorities. but it also means freedom, real freedom. Not the freedom to do whatever you want, but the freedom to be who you actually are. The freedom to create from conscious choice instead of unconscious programming. The freedom to participate in reality as a creative force instead of a passive victim. The freedom to live in alignment with the quantum field instead of fighting against it. You've been given a gift today. The gift of recognition. The gift of remembering. The gift of seeing the truth beneath the surface of ordinary reality. What you do with this gift is up to you. You can close this video and go back to sleep. You can dismiss everything you've heard as interesting but impractical. You can file it away as something to think about later, and the programming will welcome you back with open arms, reassuring you that you're safe, that you're realistic, that you made the right choice to stay small. Or you can step through the door that just opened. You can commit to the practices. You can trust your direct experience over your conditioned beliefs. You can become the conscious observer of your quantum field and watch your reality transform in ways you can't currently imagine. The choice is yours. It's always been yours. That's what quantum consciousness means. You're not at the effect of reality, you're the cause of it. So here's what I want you to do. Drop a comment right now and type these 3 words. I am awake. That's not just a comment, that's a quantum declaration. It sends a signal through the field that you are no longer available for the old programming. And when you see hundreds of others saying the same thing, you'll understand. You're not alone in this. You never were. Look at the comments below. See all those people typing the same 3 words. Each one of them is a consciousness just like you, recognizing itself, declaring itself, stepping into its power. This is the tribe. This is your community. These are the people who will understand what you're going through. As you continue to awaken, connect with them, support each other, share your experiences. Because the people in your physical life might not understand. They might think you've changed, that you've become weird or different, and you have changed. You're becoming more yourself and less the programmed version they knew. But here, in this community, you'll find others walking the same path, others experiencing the same signs, others committed to the same practices, others choosing consciousness over comfort, truth over security, awakening over sleep. The door is open. Your consciousness is unlocked, and there's no going back. Not because you can't, but because once you've tasted real freedom, once you've experienced your creative power, once you've felt what it's like to be fully awake, you won't want to. Welcome home. Welcome to quantum consciousness. Welcome to the truth of who you've always been. Now type those 3 words. Declare yourself. Join the awakening. I am awake.